Have you ever been alone in an online lobby? Everything's quiet, no teammates, no enemies, just you. The match hasn't started, timer hasn't ticked down yet, and suddenly you feel it like you're being watched. Even though you know there's no one else there, the silence, it's unnerving. Why does being in an empty game suddenly feel so eerie? This feeling, that unsettling sense of unease when we're all alone, it's something we all experience. Not just in real life, but in games too. And today, we're going to talk about why. Why is it that an otherwise fun, busy, action-packed game feels so creepy when you're the only one left? Let's dive in. Humans are social creatures. From an evolutionary standpoint, being alone used to be dangerous. Back in the day when you were separated from your group, it meant you were vulnerable, whether to predators or other dangers. That instinct hasn't gone away. Even in a modern context, we still feel uneasy when we're alone in unfamiliar environments, like walking down a dark alley at night. Your senses heighten. You're listening for any sound and looking for any movement. In online games, that same feeling can creep in when the environment suddenly feels too empty. But in a game, it's not just the physical loneliness that gets to us, it's how the game itself feels different when no one else is around. For example, think of a game lobby that's normally packed with players, filled with gunfire, explosions, constant chatter. When you're alone in that same space, the silence is deafening. Sound design plays a huge role in why this happens. Game developers know how to build a world that feels full of life, but when that life is gone, the same design can flip into something much more sinister. The way ambient sounds are used, like distant footsteps, wind rustling through trees, or even the hum of machines in an empty space, can make your brain feel like something's there. Even though you know you're alone, your mind starts to wonder, what if? And then there's the map design. When a map is designed for multiplayer chaos, it's meant to be full of people. When you're running through it by yourself, though, those same corridors and open spaces take on a completely different feel. Take any large open world multiplayer map. Normally, you're using the environment to gain an advantage over other players, ducking behind cover, running through buildings. But when you're alone, those hiding spots start to feel more like lurking shadows, places where someone or something could be hiding. It's the same feeling you get when you're in an empty house, late at night, and every little sound seems off. That same fear of the unknown kicks in, making you second guess every creak of the floor, every flicker of light. You start to feel like maybe you're not as alone as you thought. Even if you logically know you're alone in the game, your brain doesn't fully trust it. Your senses are still heightened, waiting for something, anything, to happen. This is why when you're alone in an online game lobby, it feels like the game itself is watching you. So why do we feel scared even in a digital world? Well, part of it is that our brains can't fully separate the virtual from the real. When we feel alone, whether in real life or in a game, our instincts kick in to protect us. We search for threats, we try to make sense of the unfamiliar. Game designers take advantage of this, intentionally or not. When you're in an environment meant for chaos and multiplayer action, and suddenly you're the only one there. It's like a stage with no actors. The silence becomes its own form of horror. So next time you're in an empty game lobby, or find yourself wandering alone in a vast game world, remember this. It's not just the lack of players that makes it creepy. It's the silence, the sound design, the emptiness of the map itself. All these things combine to trick your brain into thinking that something is there. Or maybe, just maybe, someone's watching you. If you ever felt that weird feeling of being watched in a game, let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you ever find yourself alone in a game lobby, just remember you're never truly alone.